Well, my name's Leahey. I'm the Director of Engineering at the Leigh Technology Academy and part of its trust. And we've been running Greenpower now for 4 years. This is into its 5th year. And we set it up so that it was a project actually in the curriculum. So our post-16 students doing level 3 courses, part of their engineering curriculum was to design and build cars. We put them into teams of 4 or 5 and they work on the whole project, including sponsorship, business, bringing in the money, designing and building it. But in the very early stages they go out and they put a team together of drivers, and they do that at the start of the year. So they look for year 7s and year 8s, the 11 and 12-year-olds. They go to assemblies, they do a short assembly in front of the students about what they propose to do, and they actually try and look for students who've got a little bit of karting experience to bring it in, and then they nurture them, and then they design and build a car around these drivers. And what we then do is these drivers who aren't studying engineering in year 7 and 8 actually all of them then take engineering as a GCSE option at level 2. We've now bearing the fruit of that, because it's 5 years in. These students are now in year 11, some of them, and they're here today, and what they're actually doing now is they're all taking engineering as a post-16 option. So it's a great way of actually providing progression routes through from GCSE to A level, and then hopefully on either to apprenticeship level or into university.
Very, very good. So what kinds of aspects of engineering do they cover? Is it just mechanical?
No.
Or would it be electrical?
The car, yes. I mean, the car itself lends itself to fabrication. So we do welding and sheet metal work on the car. Obviously, with the chassis and the shell design, that can be covered. The electrical engineering can also be covered with not just the electrics on the car, but actually how you actually do things like with the batteries. So we do things on battery charging. So we cover quite a lot of things on the peripheral. We also use the data, so we do a lot of maths as well. So a lot of the maths is built in, so when they do the mathematics with the engineering, we gather data from all the races, from all the practices, and we also put that and feed that into worksheets, and the students work on that as well. Going back to the science side of it, the students do a lot of desktop work with the motors and gearing as well, so they look at all the gearing options and pulleys and various designs to look at how long batteries and discharge rates and things like that. So there's an awful lot within the car just at that level.
Right. And what about initially up front? You're doing some CAD design, some mechanical
that's
design?
Right, yeah. Before they start, at the very early stages, students are asked to go out and gather sponsorship, and to gather sponsorship they need to have something in their hands. You can't go to an employer and say you're going to sponsor us £100, £200, £500 for a car design, but they can't envisage, they can't say, they need a vision. And so the vision comes through using CAD, so we do a lot of CAD work early on, so a lot of early designs. Some are hand drawn, then they're converted into CAD, some are just drawn. These days the kids go straight onto CAD and they like to design on the CAD, straight into 3D modelling, render it and use that then as a basis to actually gather money. So it's a really good technique we use to actually get sponsorship into the car. What we'd like to do is take it to the next level, is actually use some of the CAD work to test the vehicle, because one of the issues we have at the moment is we don't have a wind tunnel. Right. We don't have a facility to test the cars at that level, but it'd be really useful if we could get to grips with the CAD so that we could then test them actually using the CAD software itself.
Right, CFD analysis.
Exactly right, that's exactly it. Yes.
Very good. So just endless education.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just fits like hand in glove. It's superb, it really is. It's and the great thing is, because we've had success and we go all around the country, I mean, this is the icing on the cake coming to a final and the races and that, but it just drives it on. It just perpetuates the whole thing, moves forward, because you've got success, you've got students building and designing something, and what's really encouraging is the older students who've moved on in the last couple of years, their CVs and what they've been involved in, you know, designing and building a car, when they go to university, a couple of them, they've got in unconditional offers based on the fact that they've been involved in such a huge project, a business project, where they've raised maybe a couple of £1,000, they've worked in teams of 5 and 6 or maybe bigger, and they've been working on design and build. It just has all the ingredients to make them a well-rounded engineer.
Right. Well, thank you so very much for this information. Most helpful.
When am I coming to America?